And we'll get back to work. All right, so that was the metering. We just finished talking about the mixture control. What the heck did we talk about? Well, I kind of talked a little about the idle circuit and the servos connected to the throttle linkage. Apparently, I'm going to come right back to it again. I don't know. Maybe I should fix my notes. All right, enrichment system. Let me see. I'll just say this right here. So I don't have a drawing of this. Enrichment system. But I do know that I'll say some servos use an enrichment jet, use an enrichment jet parallel to the main jet, And then we'd say as the throttle is opened, the enrichment jet is opened, allowing more fuel to flow to the flow divider, And I don't think I have a picture with an enrichment jet. No, I don't.
Is that on all throttle, like when the throttle is being opened no matter what, or is it more of like an accelerator pump type of system?
No, what I would say is, let me pull up a drawing here and I'll move this over. I would imagine it being right here, pen, and I would put it right here. So that'd be both sides of it. And then as the mixture control was out of the way, so move the mixture control way out of the way. We'll get rid of this. So that's not there. And then when this idle valve, we'll say makes it out of the way, and it's out of the way, then fuel would flow in parallel. So fuel would not only be flowing through the main one, but a channel would be opened up to allow it to flow this way. Yeah, hopefully you followed that one. So that's where I'd put it. There we go. Just like that. And then when we started to close, and I'm just using this because it's here, and then we started to close the throttle, this would start to move back in, blocking that off. And so we would get no more fuel flowing out of that parallel valve, and we're back to just one. So that's how I would do the enrichment system with a parallel path.
So it's like a second channel.
Second channel. That's what I mean by
parallel.
Yeah, second passageway. And that's what I mean by parallel, one next to another. Let's see. There we go. A, B, C, D, F, G, H. And for whatever reason, now I'm going to come right back around to the manual mixture control. So I probably should have just deleted this other one. I don't know. Seemed redundant, but now we'll spend more time talking about the manual mixture control. Manual mixture control, which I already showed you how that works. So it effectively reduces the size of the main metering jet, metering jet. It is connected mechanically to the mixture control. Connected. Oh, actually, sorry. I didn't really talk about the manual mixture control. We did a little bit. So connected mechanically to the mixture control in the cockpit, to the mixture control in the cockpit. And it works in the same way as what we just looked at. So in fact, let me see if I can pull this up and let you take a look at it. How do I do this? Oh, I remember. Down. Share. Oops, it should be my speaker view. There we go. All right, pin video. Okay, so I'll bring this down. I don't have my lights on today. All right, so really it's gonna do that back and forth.
Gone.
I know, and it did that the other day, you know, and everything works so good, and then for some reason it just decides it doesn't want to do that. And this
We can
is
always do it ourselves, like pin your video.
Does it go full screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny, it even shows that it's still pinned to the second one. All right, so
I'm on the iPad and I can't like pin multiple screens. I have like your Windows desktop and then one little thing at the bottom.
all right. All right, so it should be speaker view. I don't know why I'm getting Steven's view. I don't want Steven's view.
Oh yeah, he does make a point. It does until someone talks.
Oh, I'm talking over here and it's not making, so speaker view, I'm gonna keep talking. Now it's Kevin on the speaker view. This is just horrible. Going back to gallery view. All right, now
Kevin,
really
you're not going to see it because you're the one talking. You can't see yourself in your own Zoom thing.
Okay, got it. But anyway, okay, so you guys, you should be able to see. Do you see what I'm looking at now? The carburetor in my view?
I do.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating because we had it going for hours the other day and I haven't been able to get it going since then. So, all right, so on this side, you can see this is the throttle, right? Because it's actually moving the throttle valve. And you can see that right there. Those are the impact tubes. There are 4 little impact tubes. And you can see the little holes going in there. And I'll open the throttle. Throttle's now open, throttle's closed, not a lot of light, but okay. So we have that. This side right here, there's the mixture. So just like we looked at the carburetors before, it's just got a manual mixture control going into the cockpit. So it's gonna go one way is gonna go one thing, and the other way is gonna be rich. So one way is rich, one way is lean. So how am I gonna figure out which way is rich and which way is lean? Well, thankfully, we thought everything through, and right there is some, right there, it says ICO. So if that goes all the way over there, it's an idle cutoff. So idle cutoff, that makes that full rich. So if you think about it, this is the front of the aircraft. This is the back of the aircraft. And I push forward on the red knob, that should be full rich. And I pull back, it should be full lean, idle cutoff. And in fact, it is. And so that's how it's going to always work out. And then the same thing on the other side. This is going to be wide open throttle, full forward, and pull it back, and it goes into idle. Yeah.
One of the placers is bigger or slightly bigger than the other, right?
One of the what was bigger?
The plates.
The plates?
Yeah.
Which plates?
Or well, not the plates, will be like the one edge against the other one, I'll say.
I didn't follow one edge.
Like you said, the front of the plane.
Oh, front of the plane, yeah.
Yeah, that square part where
Oh,
they're
yeah, okay. Yeah, I understand
Yeah.
now. Yeah, it is bigger. It's not necessarily that the opening is bigger, but this is bigger. So why would that be bigger? That would be bigger because you're just bolting more stuff to it. I don't know. I don't know why exactly they want to do that, but yeah, this part's going to bolt to the sump. And usually these things face forward. Where your carburetor normally goes this way, this one usually faces a horizontal. It's actually more like that. So it's in a horizontal position. And then, I don't know, you mount a plenum chamber and intake pipes and stuff going to the air cleaner up front.
Excuse me, these tubes, small tubes, it's for venturi, right? Venturi.
Nope. Those are the impact tubes.
Ah, okay. Uh-huh.
The venturi is down inside there. It's actually just, it's just the shape of it.
Uh-huh.
The shape of the housing makes a venturi.
Uh-huh. Okay, thank you.
You know what's funny is when I do a lot of Zoom stuff outside of the class now, and I find that I can't make myself not on my other screen. And so then I get into here and there's some sort of setting that is clearly making it that way. But otherwise, I'm constantly looking at myself on this gigantic, big freaking screen to my right. And now I can't get you guys over there where it would make sense. So probably because I hit, there we go. All I got to do is hit stop share. And that's exactly what happens. So of course, now I got Daniel doing something over here. I don't know why that is, but Daniel's filled up my entire screen. Hello, Daniel.
Well, we see you. We don't see Daniel.
Well, you didn't, but a minute ago it was all Daniel because that's my other screen. Okay.
Okay.
Enough screwing around. Well, now it's back to Daniel. See what I'm saying? So how do I put myself over there? That's the big question, and keep myself there. That I don't know. So somebody could answer. Somebody could answer that one of these days. Okay, now Daniel went away, so I get it. So all right, speaker view. Yeah, so bring it over here. It's frustrating me because I want to go back to what we did the other day. Okay, there we go. So connected mechanically to the mixture control in the cockpit. Where am I here? Okay. 3, as the mixture is closed, as mixture is closed, it effectively creates a smaller metering jet, And we know smaller metering jet is going to allow, it actually gives more metering power than before. So it takes greater air metering force to do the same thing. Or I guess I could say kind of, yeah, let's leave it at that one. So if we close the metering jet, we're going to get less fuel out. All right, automatic mixture control. Automatic mixture control. Now, not all of these, in fact, I think quite a few of them don't actually have an automatic mixture control. The one I've been showing you does not have an automatic mixture control. Most of the ones I've worked with do not use an automatic mixture control, but some of them do. And let me pull one up. This is the only picture I have of one, but we're just going to go with it. So automatic mixture control uses a bellows that is filled with helium. Uses a bellows that is filled with helium.
So why do they put a helium in there instead of regular air? Wouldn't it do the same thing?
No, if you have an inert, if you want an inert gas, seems to work much better than regular air.
Okay, it just does more maybe.
Yeah, I don't actually have I thought I used to have notes on the whole thing, why they use helium, but I don't have them with me. I just know that it works better an inert gas at measuring temperature and reacting with it. So use the bellows filled with helium. AMC, the AMC works independently of and in parallel with the manual mixture control. So AMC works in parallel. Should have another one in here. I really thought I did. Another picture, that is.
Kevin, do you mean like
Oh, I do. There we go. There we go, right up here. All right, so that AMC works independently of and in parallel with the manual mixture control by providing a variable orifice between air metering forces. So let's see, does that make sense? Work independently of and parallel with the manual mixture control. I don't know about that in parallel with. That was somebody else's word.
Yeah, so I was just about to ask this. So when you say in parallel with, does that mean like when you move one, it moves the other?
No, parallel means side by side.
Yeah, so like, but it works in parallel with it. It's not just like together, right?
Let's maybe throw out that word in parallel with. Let's get rid of that. And let's just stop and take a look at what's going on here. All right. I'm going to enlarge it, even though it's going to screw things up. All right. So what do we have here? And is this something new to you? Where if I could look at it, I've got impact air comes in, it goes around here and down into the impact chamber. And then over here, I've got venturi suction, which is taking a draw through here like that. Now I go up in altitude. Is the bellows going to expand or contract?
Expand.
Okay, so it's going to expand. And so when it expands, I'm going to have impact air is going to come through here. Instead of right now, it's blocked off. There's going to be an open passage and it's just going to go this way. So if I have the air making this path here, or at least some of it, what happens to my air metering force?
Decrease.
Decrease.
So there you go. And you've already seen this, right? Anybody remember which system we've already looked at has something most similar to this?
The pressure
Pressure
carburetor.
carb?
Pressure carburetor.
Okay, pressure carburetor, which one?
PR58.
No, that was the big one.
PS5.
It was the PS5, the color drawing. This is the way that one operated. The PR58 was really all about, it was simply in line with the impact. And then they put a bleed down here just to let it flow through here and then back around. So the
I thought that's what you
PS5
meant.
had this style here. So, all right. So maybe I'll pull out independently, or I mean, sorry, in parallel, just put AMC works independently. I don't even like any of that statement. So maybe I'm just going to pull all that out.
What about in conjunction?
Yeah.
MC works in conjunction.
Yeah. To keep it simple, I could probably say something more like, let's see. The AMC automatic mixture control uses Belfield helium. The AMC is placed between the two air chambers and uses an inverted needle. And then we'll say here 3. As air pressure decreases or temperature increases and or temperature increases, the bellows expands and causes a calibrated leak between venturi and impact air. Impact air, which decreases the air metering force. I think that's a really good way to put it. And what I should have put is right here, actually. This is 1, so you can see because I missed that. And I should put another I right there because that is in the bellows type. Bellows type. That's what I meant to put. And then down here, I can put a different type because there's 2 types. So we can see by looking back at the drawing, and I won't move it over so you guys can keep writing, move at the drawing that, well, actually, I'm gonna look at you and see how you're doing. Eric's still writing, so he's working. So I'll just talk a little bit here. When we look back at the drawing, we saw that as the bellows was contracted, it closed off the passage between those two. And so we got maximum air metering force. And then as we get a little bit of heat or a little bit of altitude, it's going to expand a little bit and bleed off just a little bit, decreasing air metering force. And of course, if we decrease air metering force, that is going to start to close the poppet, which then reduces the fuel going out. So it all works just fine. All right, back to looking at you. Okay, guys are good. So, and there's also the bullet type. This is kind of a new one. B-U-L-L, bullet type. That just went horribly wrong. T-Y-P-E, bullet type. It is the same concept, if you will. I'll pull up the picture. That was the one I showed you a bit ago. I don't have a really nice picture of this one, but it's more or less the same thing. And you can see that there's two lines here. And so it works the same way as the other style, but instead of being off where they put it, you can see they put it right in the middle of the throttle body. And it's going to work strictly off the venturi, inside the venturi. And so it'll bleed off venturi air through here. So it just works different. But same concept.
Can you zoom in on the top, Kevin?
What's that?
Can you zoom in on the top of that picture?
Yep.
And can you run through it again?
I'll write it down for you. So I wrote bullet type. My next point is bellows is located in the throttle body. So bellow located in the throttle body, bullet type. 1. Bellows is located in the throttle body. And of course, the throttle body is actually where the throttle is located. The housing, the actual housing that holds this bellow forms the venturi. Forms the venturi. Forms the venturi. Works the same way. Works the same way as bellows type, the number 1. But bellows is exposed to the venturi suction rather than impact air. So the same, but bellows is exposed to the venturi air rather than impact air. All right, you guys caught up?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
All right, so we have really covered, I think, quite well. At least I feel like it. Our servo unit. So we should know at this point all the little nuances of this. We'll go back one. We'll go forward one. There we
So,
go.
so in this unit, no air mixer, air fuel mixture, right?
Nope.
Air,
Nope. The two are completely and totally separate. We have not brought them two together at all yet. But looking at this, and I know it's a little sideways here, but the wording is correct. So we're just going to leave it that way. So we know we have airflow that comes through the throttle body. We know that inside the throttle body, we have only three things. We have an impact tube, we have a venturi, and we have a throttle valve. And so as air comes in, it's going to hit the impact tube. It's going to go around to the impact tube chamber, if you will, or the pressure chamber. We have suction on the other side of that. Those two make up air metering force. We know we could have a bellows, not all of them do. And as the bellows expands, it's going to bleed off some of the impact air right around to the venturi, which is going to decrease air metering force. We know that the poppet valve here must be in equilibrium. And as we open it up, we're going to get a drain off of here, which is going to lower the pressure here. And this one, unmetered, minus metered, is going to be the fuel metering force. So we know that. We know that the manual mixture control, when it is brought in, is going to effectively reduce the size of the main metering orifice, which is going to decrease fuel output. We know that at idle, none of this works well. So we have an idle spring that'll hold the poppet open, and it is regulated by adjusting the size of this main metering orifice right here in conjunction with the space here in the poppet valve. So we have all of this working together to create fuel that is going to come out. And where is the fuel going to go? Well, the fuel is going to go through a hose around and into the flow divider. So from here, we're going to talk about the flow divider. And if we were actually kind of look at this right here, how things are laid out, and I didn't bring a flow divider for this particular one. No, I didn't. So no flow divider. We'll just have to kind of go with pictures on this one. But there's the flow divider. This is one unit. This is another unit. So here we have all the diaphragms and stuff. And then over here, we have all of the mixture control items. And I'm going to go back to my camera so I can see what I'm looking at. And if you look at this, you can actually see how it's laid out. So here is all the diaphragms inside of that round chamber right there. And you can see all the screws. So all the diaphragms are right inside here. And all of this is a throttle body. And then if we turn it around and we look right here, we can see this square unit right here with the hose fitting, the mixture control, the throttle, and all of this down here. This part is actually this part down here in the drawing. So that's how it's laid out. All right, so we got that. And now we're going to talk about the flow divider. I do have a flow divider, just not a Bendix. So here's an old-timey flow divider off a Bendix system. It's the same size. In fact, I'm sorry, Continental. It's really, really hard to tell the difference. If you take them and put them just in a box and say, well, which one's which, I would have a real hard time figuring out which is the Bendix and which is the Continental just from looking at it from the outside. So we'll just pretend like I didn't have to tell you that. You could say, there it is. But when I take it apart on the inside, it's going to be different, quite a bit different. So flow divider. All right, it receives fuel from the servo. Receives fuel from the servo. There's a lot going on in there. Well, not too much. consists of, there is a valve, a sleeve that the valve rides inside, a diaphragm, and a spring. All right, this flow divider, and they're going to be very different between the continental system and this one. The flow divider has three purposes. One is to provide equal distribution of fuel to each nozzle. I'll say fuel nozzle. Each fuel nozzle. So it's got to make sure it has equal distribution to all the fuel nozzles. That way, one cylinder is not running richer or leaner than the other. It gets close. Really, it's more of a function of the nozzles as to how equal it gets. To provide clean engine shutdown. We do have a problem with these systems in that the nozzles are located right next to the cylinder in a low pressure area. So outside of the intake manifold, we have normal pressure that we see now, and then we have a vacuum inside of the manifold pressure. And the problem with that is that you've placed fuel system inside of a vacuum. And so it's trying to draw fuel out. And so if you don't find a way to shut this down, the engine is going to keep sucking fuel against otherwise wishes out of the servo unit. And it does, actually. It'll just keep sucking it away. So you got to have some way to provide a clean and sudden shutdown that says, all right, you've reached a point, the pilot has asked us to shut it down, shut down. You get no more fuel. You can keep crying and sucking on those nozzles all you want. You get nothing. Sucking on the teat that provides the fuel, you get nothing. So, all right, and it regulates flow at lower speeds. And this is where the Bendix system varies greatly from the Continental system, is that Continental actually goes through some rather difficult measures to make sure that their flow divider doesn't do any regulating whatsoever. It can't. For their system to work, the flow divider can't regulate. But in the Bendix system here, it's used to regulate fuel at the lower speeds. So let me see. And I've said this before, but it just it's a point that we have to make sure we know. The nozzles are sized to accommodate, proper fuel flow, at max power. Therefore, the flow divider must help regulate at lower speeds. Regulate at lower speeds.
Is that where the spring comes into play?
That is where the spring comes into play. Well, no, that's where the V-slot comes into play. The spring comes into play for number 2, provide a clean engine shutdown. Just waiting for everybody to get caught up here. All right. Got my pace car says we're good to go. So 1, 2, 3, here we go. This way. Fine. So the valve is spring loaded to the closed position, I'm going to come back to that. We'll just take a look at some pictures here so we can get this going. Okay, so we looked at that one. I don't think I showed you this one, but it is kind of backing up a little bit. So I showed you that this little thing over here, which is where you adjust the idle mixture. And here it is just in picture format. So I showed you that. And the idle speed adjustment is always just a screw. It's just a stop. So it's right there where it bumps into the stop. So it's not that much a big deal. But I told you in the pictures where it had the sliding, it represented the mixture as something sliding. It doesn't. It's not a sliding pin that goes back and forth. And I kept telling you it's more of a round thing that slides. So this is what it looks like, these sliding valves and the main metering channel and how it works. But you don't have to really get into that one to understand this. Then we talked about that. Okay, so flow divider. I've always thought that this drawing was just bizarro. And half the time sometimes I'm really good at figuring out, sometimes I go, what the heck is, you got a little egg over here and I don't know what the heck. Then it takes me a while to figure it out. But this is what's really important. So inside of the flow divider, going all the way around, I wish I would have brought one, but I didn't and I can't. So there is, let me see what else I have here. No. Okay, so there is a round plunger that is on the inside. And let me take this one apart real quick. Even though it's a Continental, it's close to what you want to see. There's only 4 screws. 3, 4. This one. All right. So this down here so you guys can see. Hang on. I got to see what you're seeing. All right. So there we go. All right. So it's round on the inside. So here's a round pin. And I said, this is a Continental system. I'm pretty sure on this one. And that's going to slide into here. Oops, slide into there, and it slides up and down. And down inside of here, spaced all the way around, are these very small V slots. So, and I can't, this one almost works to the point where you could see it, but they're just way down inside there. Hang on, flashlight. Well, that just looks weird. I have no idea what's doing that. So, but down there, there's these little V slots. And so what happens, and this is what it's representing right here. So you actually have a slot that's cut in, and the fuel is going to come out this way. And so they are going all the way around the circumference, all these little V's. And then we have the pin, if you will, that the shaft that's going to go in and out. So at one point, the pin is only going to be up this high, right? And so all you have is this little bit of the bottom of the triangle that's going to allow fuel to come out. So this is all the fuel that's going to come out because all of this up here is already blocked. And so that's all you're going to get. And so this is what this is representing. So you get this much of a triangle for idle. And then as you advance the throttle, what's going to happen is more fuel flow is going to come out of, put this back up, more fuel flow is going to come back from the flow divider, from the servo unit, and it's going to come in here and it's going to force the diaphragm up against the spring and allow more and more and more fuel flow out. So as it keeps going, the pressure gets higher and then it moves it up. And now you've got all this fuel because the pressure got higher. And then you're going to get more pressure. Then you're going to get up to here where you get the whole triangle pretty much. And since you get all of this fuel, you get a lot of fuel. So that's how it's regulating it. It's just another orifice, if you will, that opens up wider and wider as you get more fuel flow coming out and pressing against the diaphragm.
Question. So it's like a hollow triangle needle, kind of, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much, except the part that goes up and down is round. Just,
Okay.
This one's weird. I don't ignore the fact that it's chamfered, but let me see, this one. Hang on, let's see if this one. Yeah, this one's continental. Hang on. Oh, I think this one might be a Bendix thrown in a continental. No, it works enough as one. Let me grab my my other camera. I grabbed this one out of the tool room, out of a Continental box, but I really don't think it's a Continental, even though it was in a Continental box. All right, there we go. So going down in there, this thing is awesome. So you see all those little holes, and in the newer style, all of those holes are clearly a V. I mean, there's just no doubt they are little V's cut into it, but this one is not. That's why I'm kind of sometimes I was hesitant to say that it was a Lycoming. It's just a much older version. And so I think if we couple that with the fact that it does have this little chamfer in there, I think you can hopefully see how, if I can just get it, like right is left, left is right, up is down, down is up. So it's screwing me up here. Make myself puke.
So it just opened up more of the orifice, right?
Right. It's just
for
going to
more
open
fuel
up
to go through. Okay.
Yep.
I got it now.
All right. So looking in here, I've got the diaphragm that's going to sit on top of it. There we go. The diaphragm that sits on top of it, and then pull the diaphragm out. And the diaphragm is going to, well, let's start with the fuel inlet. So this is a 6-cylinder. So because we got, stop it, 6 different outlet ports. So there's an outlet port right there. An outlet port that's going to go out to the fuel nozzle. This right here has got, hopefully I'm not screwing with you guys with this picture, the inlet. So the inlet is going to come inside of here and go through this screen. And then the screen, might be better if I go to my other one. It'll come up in a minute. Just waiting for the camera to switch. There we go. So it's going to come in the inlet, inside of the backside of the screen, up through the screen. It's going to push on the diaphragm. The diaphragm is then going to open up ever so slowly as we get pressure built up. So a little pressure, it's going to open a little more, a little more, a little more. And as it opens up, those V slots in there, the fuel's going to come through there around this chamfer up through here. Well, this one actually comes up through the hole through here and then out here, and then inside of down, and then, oh, this one's working backwards. Sorry, this is why it's continental. This particular one, if you just follow it through, it's going to come through the screen. It's going to go through that hole right there, then down, and then into the V slots and out is where I think the other ones, the newer ones, go from the bottom up, not that way. So that's why this one is so confusing. But I wanted you to get the concept, at least of the V slots down there. If I would have brought the other one, it is just so obvious that it's a V slot. And there's the big spring that holds it down. Oh, okay. So we've got, where am I here?
It's 521.
Christian, your daughter has a question?
Yeah.
I think she said it's 520.
Oh, well, thank you very much for telling me that. I appreciate that. So we'll come back in a little bit later.